It's the LaSala Show. Episode 44. October 19th, 2021. Hello, how are you? Got a great show today. My uncle, who I haven't spoken to in years. Not because of any bad blood per se. You know, it's just life. Life moves, it zigs, it zags, and we happened to catch back up, and it was a great thing because, so both of my uncles on my mom's side are musicians. They basically made me into a musician as well. You know, growing up, seeing them almost like once a month. When we would travel up to my grandparents' house, they were making music. You know, I got my first keyboard from my other uncle. And now, I think the next logical step is for the three of us to start a band. Now that we're really old. We got some news, some sports news. Sports heavy this episode until Thomas gets on the show. The Packers beat the Bears. You know, nothing crazy, just 24-14. It's fine. But Aaron Rodgers, scores the go-ahead game-sealing touchdown. Looking like he's about to pass it. He's scrambling around. He starts running towards the end zone. He pump fakes. And he keeps going in. Touchdown. He does the championship belt discount double check on his knees. Apparently, a lady in the stands, a Bears fan lady, gave him the old two-gun salute. The double bird. And I think that mixed with him just getting knocked to the turf by a defender and scoring a touchdown and pretty much game over, he kind of went off a little bit. Let's hear what he had to say.
Scrambles to his right, pumps and runs, and Rodgers is inside the pylon. Touchdown Packers. It's Rodgers running for the score. Right on cue, Jones.
I still own you. I still own you. I've always owned you. My whole career, I've always owned you. Yeah, well, it's true. I think he's like 24-3 against the Bears in his life. Yes, you in fact own the Bears. Packers moved to 5-1. Remember when they lost to the Saints? What did I say? It's an anomaly. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Yeah, 5-0 since then. Moving on. So, they got some bad coaches out there. Bad coaches. So, John Gruden got fired or agreed to step down from the Las Vegas Raiders for his involvement in some 60,000 emails back in the day. Which, he managed to shit on the gays, the blacks. Shit, he even got some topless photos from some Washington cheerleaders. However, John Gruden will be doing just fine. He is reportedly owed $40 million. So he basically got fired, canceled, like Madden on the PlayStation is removing him from the game as a coach. You can't even see the man's face on Madden, the video game, anymore. But he's getting a cool 40 mil to ease his pain. Another bad coach, was Urban Meyer, who got a lap dance from some floozy while his wife was at home babysitting. But that's old news. This new news, Ed Ogeron. I'm Coach O. I'm reportedly was hitting on a pregnant wife of an LSU official at a gas station. All of a sudden, Coach O was like this playboy. I mean, he's like he has pictures up of him and like girls in bikinis. He's laying in bed with a lady. He is stepping down at the end of the season, and he will get like $13 million to leave. What the hell do I have to do to get a job where I can get fired, get paid to get fired? That is a power move. I'm jealous. I really am. Lastly, on the despicable human beings. So the brother of Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's like some TikTok wannabe star. His name is Jackson Mahomes. He's just looking at him, typical fucking retard, wannabe, you know the guy. Oh, I'm really cool. My brother's in the NFL. I have all this cool gear. I'm going to flex on y'all hoes. Check out my shoes. Look all the money I have. That's like his TikTok persona, right? So earlier in the year, this fuck poured some water on opposing fans while he was at the Baltimore Ravens game watching his brother. That's my brother out there. And some fans were maybe heckling him, so he poured water on them. Interesting choice. This past weekend, the Washington football team was honoring a player that played for them, 14 years ago, Sean Taylor, who was tragically murdered inside his own home in like the prime of his career. Very sad story. And so the Washington football team is honoring his number pregame. And Jackson Mahomes decides to go do a little TikTok dance on the number on the field. It doesn't end there. Patrick Mahomes' mom, she stays busy on the Twitter. And after one of Patrick Mahomes' interceptions in this Washington football game a couple of days ago, his mom tweets that the interception off of Tyreek Hill's hands shouldn't be her son's fault. Are you fucking kidding me with this? Hey, Patrick Mahomes, guess what? You know what Aaron Rodgers did? He stopped talking to his family altogether. You can do the same thing, sir. But it doesn't stop there. You also have a crazy wife. So are you just the dumbest, most ridiculously talented athlete in the world? Why does that always happen, by the way? Why are the most talented athletes always the stupidest people in the goddamn world? Listen to Deacon Jones, okay? Deacon Jones, one of the best defensive linemen back in the 70s. Listen to this guy.
The reality of the Deacon Jones head slap. The head slap was to do two purposes. One was to give myself an initial head start on the pass rush. In other words, an extra step. Because anytime you go upside a man's head or a woman, then they have a tendency to blink their eyes or close their eyes, and that was all I needed.
Go upside a man's head or a woman? Like he's trying to be politically correct or some shit. Like, oh, equal opportunity. If I'm going to slap a man upside his head or a woman. One of the greatest players of all time. Dumb as a brick. Oh, boy. Well, let's get to our guest. My uncle, Thomas Ayres. we're back with the show. My guest today, my other uncle, Mr. Thomas Ayres. Thomas, how say you?
How's it going, man? It's been a while.
What? You just didn't want to talk to me for over a decade until you heard that I had a popular YouTube show. Now you want to talk? What's up with that?
Exactly, man. Just coming around once I, just sniffing that money out, man. I know you're making those fat stacks, man. You're making those fat stacks. So I had to come around.
I feel you, dog. I feel you. So what's up, man? So you're in Houston right now. What the hell are you doing over there?
Man, I just kind of ended up in Houston, my family moved here probably like 81, around there. And so I spent a few years here, then I was back to Louisiana for a while. And then my senior year of high school, I came back to Houston. That was for like a solid year. Went back to Louisiana again, but that was only for about like 6 or 8 months or so. And then ever since about like late 1986, I've pretty much been in H-Town, man. The thing that I really like about Houston, the thing that's always been true, even in an economic downturn, there's always a job. You can always get a job. It's not going to always be a job that you like, especially if the economy is tightened up and the jobs are more scarce, but you can still get a job. You can get a little crappy apartment, and, you can just, like, at whatever age, man, you can hit reset and you can just start over and just start building your life back up. Like, Houston's really good for that.
Right.
It's for the size of city that it is and all the amenities that it offers and all the cool things that you can go do, just like in any other major city, compared to a lot of other major cities, it's actually fairly cheaper. It's sort of like a bargain city. New Orleans is kind of like that too. At least I'm not sure if it is now as much, but yeah, like, whereas other cool cities in Texas, like Austin is super expensive. It's like the San Francisco of Texas, So
right.
Musically, if you're trying to put together bands or trying to get out and play shows and get something going, Austin, it makes more sense to be located there. But as far as the economy and stuff, Houston pretty much kills it, I think.
Yeah, so what are you doing over there for work right now?
Well, basically, man, I am kind of sort of retired.
Shit.
I kind of hung it up, man. I kind of hung it up like a couple years back. And my wife, actually, it's really weird. It was her idea. And she talked to me about it for about a solid year or so. And she was concerned about my health. And I had a stressful situation at work. And, she has a good job. She's blessed enough to have a good job. And she just said, look, it would be of more value and help at home, taking care of stuff at home. And it took a while for it to sink in, but then finally I had a really crappy run of like 3 or 4 months in a row at my job, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should like actually try it. And it's like worked out pretty well. I spend a lot of time working on my music. I'm trying to get a little YouTube thing going, which has been pretty hilarious so far. But it's like fun, though. I mean, and your uncle Scott, my brother Scott, he helped me through the first year. Sort of told me what to avoid, and when I dealt with my first weirdo, he kind of guided me through that,
Right.
How to do it in a way where nobody has to get their feelings hurt or get upset or anything. And so that was like cool to like learn some of the rules of the road from like him, and I've been watching him build his channel. It's been pretty cool. So yeah, man, I'm like fortunate in that way. I have an awesome wife who understands that I have a creative mind, and I want to be able to work on music and work on projects and stuff. And she's like cool with it. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but maybe it's an alternate reality or something.
Hey, I dig it, man. I've always wanted to be a house husband, like that's I feel like I'm a very domestic person. I'm a very good cook. I can clean, I take care of the litter box and everything. So it's like,
Exactly.
That stuff.
Exactly, man. You got to step up and take care of all the things that she doesn't want to deal with when she gets home from work.
Exactly.
So you got to cover all that stuff. It's about making her life easier, and that in itself has significant value. Like a really good example is, I'm like here to get all the Amazon packages, or the packages that come in the mail. Now, I remember what it was like being at work, and I would have a piece of musical gear that was getting shipped, and I'd find out, oh crap, I thought I had a time where it was going to come in on one of my days off, but now it's coming in, I'm stuck at work, oh crap, and then I check, oh, it's already been delivered, and it's like 3 p.m., I don't get off until 6 p.m.
Right.
So then I'm sitting there at work, stressing, like, man, I've got this like $300 piece of gear sitting in a box at my front door, just sitting there, man, for like 3 hours. And so you're sitting at work stressing about it, So like that alone is like worth it's just another perk there that like helps out. So, it's like worked out pretty well. And I try to be a good husband. I'm definitely not perfect, but
hey, I don't think it's possible to be a perfect spouse. It's
exactly.
unrealistic, but you can strive.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to look for little things that picks her like day up, and that's really what wins the game, man. Is just paying attention to little things.
Oh yeah. Well, you sound like you got it figured out, man. What about your musical journey? Like, what music style would you tell the listeners? I'm gonna put a link up after this, but what style would you describe it as?
It's kind of hard to put it down into just like a single term, or I end up with like a German style word where they just take a bunch of smaller words and put them all in a row to create the new word.
Right.
Which is actually very logical, but it also creates these ginormous words. So, I don't know. I guess experimental EDM, that might be one. Like if I was going to do like a little tag on it or something, that might be one. Also, just experimental rock. I like to take sort of a rock energy, like a driving type energy that I associate with like rock or metal, take that and apply it to electronic music, but not just always going straight to the type stuff.
Right.
Like taking it a little bit more outside of the box. Like I really get inspired by people like Square Pusher. There's some Aphex Twin stuff that is really good. Meat Beat Manifesto. I recently started catching up with some Chemical Brothers. Chemical Brothers is a little bit more disco, but they always have some really kind of, funky experimental stuff in there too. Yeah, there's just, and there's like different, just like different like elements I want to try to incorporate into the same thing. Like, I'm really inspired by like soundtracks and sort of avant-garde composers. Some of those 20th century guys were really good, like Edgar Varese, John Cage, Harry Parch. And then, I went through a whole period where I was into Frank Zappa, so I got really into some of the stuff that he was doing, where he was doing rock that was influenced by a lot of those 20th century avant-garde and, like, some people would call them modern classical composers. But yeah, I just want to try to mix it together or go back and forth, sort of like where Led Zeppelin would have like a soft part of the song and acoustic part, and then it would go to like a little heavy rock part. I want to try and do similar things, but maybe go from like, kind of a Chemical Brothers funky vibe straight into like some kind of like John Cage or Harry Parch, like microtonal thing.
Right.
I'm not really quite there yet. Like but I'm gradually getting to the point where I'm starting to figure out how to like get there. But yeah, like a lot of it is just listening to some of these old records and getting inspired by that, and then also hearing the new stuff that comes out and just thinking, man, it would be awesome to just figure out a way to smash these two together.
Right. So
that's the overall goal.
You work mostly you work by yourself, or have you ever been in bands, or what?
Yeah, I was in a few bands through late '80s up until about 2004 or so. I had a string of bands. Really early days, I was in this project with this guy Jeff Bobbitt called The Exit Us. And that was really early stuff. Some of that is kind of painful to listen to now because
right.
when you're recording stuff with your early bands, it's like kind of, when you get older, you listen back to it, and it comes across as kind of naive. And but some of that stuff is like good. There was some good stuff in there too. And then I had the Thomas Ayres Trio in the early '90s, and I played guitar in that band. Guitar and sang, and that was from about 93 to 96. Then from about late 96 to 98, I was in the Texas Guinness Lovers, and that was a fairly popular local, basically like a cover band, but we did Irish folk songs like Clancy Brothers, and then we would also do Hank Williams songs, and some of them we would speed up and stuff, but we usually kept the traditional lyrics, and that was a really fun band. I did a lot of drinking for free, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Because if that's how you're getting paid, it's like, well, I'm going to get my money's worth out
exactly.
of this gig, so.
Yeah, I would get it to
got
where
kind of ugly, but that's the way it was in that band. It kind of fit with that band. And then after that, I left that band because artistically, it was a lot of fun, but artistically it wasn't really satisfying me. I was starting to write more and more songs. I'd been writing songs since the Thomas Ayres Trio had broken up, but I didn't have a band to have an outlet for those songs. So I was starting to build up a catalog of these songs and demos, and Texas Guinness Lovers were still mostly, there was a little bit of original content that had started to creep in, but it hadn't really been that fast. And it was also based on other people in the band and what they were putting forward. So I wasn't really getting my songs in. So around late 98 or so, I quit the Texas Guinness Lovers, and then I started a project with my old friend, my old sort of partner, musical partner, Jeff Bobbitt. I started up a project with him again and called it Overlight Underdark. And that ran from basically 99 to about 2004. And that was like a crazy, like progressive rock, sort of over-the-top gonzo band where we would just try to do all these different styles. We would try to come up with just a really crazy idea for a song, and then we would try to record it. And we never got a lot of traction in Houston because we were just a two-man project, and we were just a little bit too weird for anybody to like really handle. But we put out a few good CDs, and then we called it quits in 2004, so we could kind of do our own thing. And then ever since 2004, I've pretty much just been working on my own stuff. I'll occasionally jam with people, but for the most part, since then I've been just working on my own stuff. And honestly, I have to say, I really enjoyed playing in bands. Over the years, I got a lot of really good experience. I think playing live is good for any musician. even if they do just want to end up, in their bedroom on their laptop at like home putting their album together, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But it's good to have that live experience because it like hones you as a musician, because you have to face scrutiny, you have to face hecklers, you have to look at people while you're pouring your soul out on the stage. You have to look over and see people that just don't really give a crap.
Yeah, they're on their phones or they're talking or whatever.
Yeah, you have to deal with that reality, which is like good because it sort of tempers your steel as a musician of like, okay, well, I'm going to get through this gig. I just have to, I have to get through it no matter what. So anyway, so even when you go back into your home studio or go back to your room and like work on your stuff, you just got a better discipline about it. But
so
yeah, man.
You gigged a lot. What do you have like in your mind your worst gig ever?
I don't really have. Well, I mean, I've probably got like a top 5 of worst gigs.
Right.
Like, well, especially with the Texas Guinness Brothers, we used to play every Tuesday night at a place called Rudyard's, which is like kind of a British style or UK style pub. And, great like place to play. They actually had a really good sound system, and they had a guy, Omelchuk, Joe Omelchuk, who actually cared about the sound.
Right.
So, and that's, a lot of these entry-level clubs that you play, I'm sure you know this, it's like usually the sound guy oftentimes is also the bartender.
Yeah, exactly.
And if a mic starts to feed back, hey, it might take them a minute before he can make it over to the board. So that's just tough.
Deal with it.
Now, this like place had like a really good sound system. So we always enjoyed playing it with Overlight Underdark and with Texas Guinness Brothers. We always enjoyed playing at Rudyard's because they were like a legit like quality club. But there were like other venues, and I can't even remember the name of the venue. I remember it was on Westheimer. A lot of these clubs will change names every 6 months. I can't remember what this place was called, but it had basically they had all the cases of beer stacked up on the little drum riser, but it was in back of the drummer.
Wow.
So about every 8 to 10 minutes set, I think we played about a 50-minute set. And like barback would come over, or one of the bartenders would come over and say, "Hey, can you hand me that case of like, Bud Light or whatever?"
What the fuck?
Now a case of cans of beer, when you've already exerted a lot of physical energy on playing like drums, and I was also singing, to like have to reach back when you're already kind of sweaty and getting tired. So you have to reach back and grab a case of like beer and hand it like over the drum kit.
Over the set, right.
Yeah, over the kit to the guy. So you're not just picking it up for him and handing it to him, but you have to reach like over you're like overextending your back. You know what I'm saying? So it was ridiculous, man. By like the end of the set, I was like, "Can we please like wrap up the set early and maybe cut a song off and just wrap this up?"
Yeah.
I was so ready for that gig to be over. It's like, I don't work with this freaking club, man.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting tipped out for each case or something.
I'm playing drums and I'm working as a barback, man. This ain't cool.
Yeah. That's some bullshit.
And I think like I only got like 2 like drink tickets or something like that.
Right.
They give you the little tickets to redeem so you get your freebie beers or whatever. And I think if they gave me like 2 free beers, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
that was like a horrible gig. I don't think we ever played at that place again.
That's a bad
and
sign.
Sometimes it's like that. You have to get out there and play to find out what the really crappy places are so that you won't put there again.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully you're not traveling 2 hours to get there, because I've done that before where you're like, all right, let's go to this New Orleans bar. And then we get there, and it's like, what the fuck is this? It's the same sort of situation. 2 drink tickets and whatever the door is. And also, that stage that y'all thought y'all were playing on, no. Y'all have this side stage back here. Y'all playing at the sidebar. and there's no stage. Y'all just set up on the floor. Yeah, just terrible shit like that.
No, I've seen some of the things that they call stages in New Orleans, man. They are tiny, man. I remember me and Scott went into this record store. This was quite a while back, like early, like 2000s or something. And I looked over, and it was like a three-piece jazz combo, and they were killing it, man. I mean, like, the musicians in New Orleans are always freaking killing it, man. But they were crammed into this tiny little, I mean, I guess you could call it a stage. It was really more like a platform that you put, like, a couple of shelves on or something. It wasn't really like a stage-type stage. But these guys are crammed on there, man. I was like, how can they even, man, I was like, damn, the stuff that they put up with, man. But, you know, a lot of the spaces in New Orleans are really tight. A lot of those, you know, shotgun-style buildings where it's just a series of little rooms, but there's like 8 of them.
Right.
But they just go straight back, you know. So it's like, there's actually a lot of space, but you always feel like you're kind of crammed into a little room. And actually, Manhattan's like that too, man. Going to restaurants there, it's like they cram you into these little spaces that were designed in, like, you know, 1912 or something. It's like, were people just smaller back then?
Yeah, just a bunch of little tiny motherfuckers before hormones were in our McDonald's.
Exactly, before they started injecting all the hormones into the beef.
Yeah. Disgusting.
So, man, I was there. I know this is your show, and you're the man. You ask the questions, but I was going to throw up a question.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So, like Scott told me that you're into that show, Black Mirror.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What would you say was your most mind blowing episode? The one where you just like, where it kind of like creeped you out, or made you think, yeah, this is kind of.
I think, okay, so I know this is probably recency bias, but the one that just made my butthole clench up the most and made me most uncomfortable was the opening of last season, where this guy is basically creating his own spaceship enterprise. You know, it's like he's like the leader of his ship.
Oh, yeah.
And he's cloning all these people and making them...
Clemens.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, that guy plays the creepy characters so well.
Oh, yeah.
And he is so skilled at that. On Breaking Bad, he played, what was it, Todd?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Man,
yeah.
Oh, man. Just the depth of the creepiness.
Just dead behind the
eyes.
Amazing. Yeah.
And like not even having to say a line.
Right.
Just having that look in his eye. It's kind of like Javier Bardem's character in No Country for Old Men.
Ah, yes.
And he would just stand there and look at people,
right.
And it would be like, man, dude, that is just creepy. I'm sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, but the thing about the episode, I think I'm like obsessed with the idea of infinity. And then so whenever these people realize that they're a clone of themselves and there's nowhere for them to go, and it's just like, this is going to be the rest of your existence, it just made me shake. Like, I was like, ugh.
Well, yeah, and being trapped in what amounts to an eternal prison.
Right, in a fantasy world where he can turn your face into an eraser or whatever he did to that one chick.
Yeah, and he took away, when he had to show that one character, that she, I can't remember the character's name, but when she starts to try to stand up to him, and then he takes away her mouth and like nose openings,
exactly.
and her nostrils, so that she can't breathe.
Right.
And then he's like, oh yeah, you're not going to die. You're a virtual, entity. You're not going to die. You're just going to suffocate until I give you your nostrils and your mouth back.
Right.
So no, it's totally like creepy because inside that game, he was basically God, and then everyone else was trapped there. Yeah, that was a really frightening one, I thought. So, like, one of the ones that really kind of creeped me out was the one with the little, like, military robots that were almost like little bugs or something.
Oh, like
crawled,
the bees
that like crawled around. Well, the bees one was really good too, but this one had like these like little military bots that were kind of small, like they were about the size of a shoebox, and basically something had gone wrong, and they manufactured way too many of them.
Oh, the dogs, the dogs. Is that what you're saying?
Well, like they're like these like little military robots, but they're really small.
Yeah.
And they look sort of like a big like roach or something.
Oh fuck! I guess I'm blanking on that one. I feel like there's a couple that I'm confusing for this episode. But
oh, it's all good. It's been a while since I've seen some of them because I started watching.
Is it like a mosquito kind of thing, and they track people and they're killing politicians or something?
Oh man, now you got me confused.
Yeah, it's been a couple years. I need to go back and rewatch them, man. But they're all so like. I just love that they all stand alone, and you don't have to know anything about anything else. They're all new actors. It's fucking fantastic. Best show on television until I just saw Squid Game, and that blew my mind as well.
How is that?
It's
how is that? I've not checked that out yet.
So you have to watch it. If you like Black Mirror, this is going to be right up your alley. But watch it with the closed captions. Don't try to watch the American dubbed version because it's corny as fuck.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
They're usually a little bit better than the dubbing.
Yeah, but it's super unsettling. Definitely, you'll want to binge it. You'll just like not want to stop watching.
Yeah, the things that I've read about it and seen about it are like cool. I was gonna wait until they get like. I was hoping that they would drop another updated version with better captions or better subtitles, because I've seen even with that there's been some problems. Like some South Korean Americans have been criticizing them, saying that they need to tighten up. They need to get a better translator.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Some of it's like maybe a little bit broken. Some of the translations don't come off as well, maybe, but...
Right. And sometimes it's just a difference in the culture and language, because not everything can always 100% translate. If there's certain cultural things that it's like, you can't even,
Yeah.
Like there's certain German words where there's not even really a direct equivalent to English, per se.
Right, and then our stupid American language, they look at us and they're like, we don't even have a word for that retarded thing that they say. We'll just make something up and replace of it.
Exactly.
All right, so look, I got one or two more for you, and I saved the heavy ones for last, but how is the world going to end?
Well... That's a good question. Like, as far as the planet is concerned, the planet is going to be just fine. I mean, the planet has already been through so much crap. It had stuff hit it. That's where a lot of the experts think that's where the moon came from, was that it was some kind of larger object hit it, and then a big chunk ended up orbiting, and then that eventually became the moon, so that's why we have a moon.
Oh, okay.
It's already been, the surface has already melted and been reconstituted like multiple times. It's already seen everything and done everything, so, we're just basically like fleas on a dog, we're like here until we mess it up enough where, we could still live on this planet, but, we're all going to be breathing with, masks on our faces, like gas masks, because we can't breathe the air anymore.
Right.
Or, the wealthy people will live in sky cities or they'll go to colonies on Mars while we, like the poor people, stay here and mine whatever's left to get out of this planet. I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot of ways that I think, life on Earth could definitely end, but I don't think it will ever completely end. It would take something pretty catastrophic, because life is also stubborn. So, like we might not be around anymore, but other forms of life would keep going.
True.
There's also the scenario, sort of like one of my favorite Xbox 360 games, Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, whichever one they're on now. But the whole premise of that game is great because it deals with like a post United States, China, World War III Armageddon scenario, and then it just, you go through the game and you're sort of trying to pick up the pieces and figure out how to defend yourself in this like hellscape. So there could be, after something like that, like a World War III, there would be pockets of survivors. But then what happens? Do we go back to the Middle Ages, or certain parts of the world go back to the Middle Ages, and then there's other pockets of like highly advanced people who held on to all the old tech
right
from before the war, and so then they eventually emerge after like 100 years or so. They emerge and take back over the planet or something. I don't know. It would just be a much different place. But I mean, there's so much stuff that can happen. I mean, we could still get hit by a big enough asteroid that it could cause some pretty major damage.
Right. Or a volcano goes off and covers half the United States in ash clouds.
Yeah, there's still a couple that are like due. Some of the major like Krakatoa type, seismic events. Also, you've got all these coastal cities. You've got tsunamis. I mean, if they were big, like if you had a major Krakatoa type eruption, like we haven't seen in, like over 100 years or something. We had something like that happen. I mean, that could cause a tsunami that could take out like an entire coast.
Yeah.
If you had a water wall that was like, say like a couple miles high or something.
Yeah, but good times, fun stuff.
Just be sure to get the footage, okay?
Yeah. Get your phone ready and charged. All right. So what happens when we die?
Well, I can't really speak from experience, but I don't know, man. I'm agnostic, basically. The atheists make some really good points, but I still see atheism as another belief system, and it's like saying definitively not something.
Right.
And so I can't really go the full. And like logically, I'm with like about 90% of what atheists say, but there's a 10% where I differentiate myself from them. So I basically end up in the generic agnostic camp, which is basically I'm not really sure. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to know in this lifetime. Maybe I'll find out after I die. I don't know. It just basically comes back to I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have recently been sort of tapping into this idea that makes a little bit more sense for me. So maybe I'm not even agnostic anymore. I don't know. But I do believe that there's an overall consciousness of the universe. I just don't know what you call it. I don't know exactly how it operates. So I just sort of refer to it, generally speaking, as the universe. And that makes more sense to me than any religion, because like universe, I'm talking about encompassing everything that is, even if there's more than one universe.
Right.
Like, it's like everything that's out there, everything that we can see, everything that we can't see. And so, yeah, I think there's some kind of energy there. I can't really put my finger on what it is or anything like that. But, yeah, so I sort of have a general belief in that. But, yeah, I would like to think that we keep going afterwards. But then again, it's like, well, how long does that go on? Like, do we just keep this personality?
Right,
and then we're
right.
just floating around like a spirit? And that's, so what, we're just going to go visit all of our deceased loved ones? We have to go check in?
Yeah, it's like, oh, God, I got to go see the parents this
then
weekend.
What? So then we're all hanging out together? Like, I don't want to necessarily hang out with all of these people forever.
Right.
I mean, I loved them when they were here. I love y'all, but I think I'm gonna go check out Jupiter. Bye.
Right. Or I want to go check out this other universe.
I don't know. It starts with it seemed like that's very much a human construct to say, oh yeah, we're gonna meet up with Grandma and Grandpa, and we're all gonna be chilling and sharing stories, and it's like, yeah, that's gonna last for like a day, man.
Yeah, and then it's
you're
like,
gonna
all
get
right,
really
man,
bored.
I'm getting bored. I
And
want to
then
go
you're
beat
gonna be
off.
like,
What's going on?
where do they keep the sports cars at?
Yeah.
Or where do they keep the spaceship? Because I need to go do something.
I need a beer.
Yeah, I don't know.
And some tits. Let's go.
So yeah, I don't know, man. You're asking some really important questions, but
Well, I'll just keep asking everyone that I come in contact with, because I still haven't gotten the correct answer, which is obviously we get a blast of DMT, we trip out as we get put into the ground, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, we're really no different from any other creature that's on this planet.
Right.
I mean, now, there are some smart people that are trying to figure out how to go into the death section of the DNA and switch it off. They are working on that, and I think I don't know if you ever watched that show Altered Carbon. It was rather cheesy, but some of the ideas that they dealt with on that show were like cool, because they dealt with the hypothetical of what if 200 or 300 years in our future, we do establish a method of having immortality.
Right.
But it's not guaranteed for everybody, and so then there's a caste system, and of course the wealthy,
right,
and the sort of ruling class. They have the immortality plus program, so they're living the life and they're amassing wealth. Now you can amass wealth over generations, and you don't have to automatically hand it over to the grandkids anymore. Now you can just keep it and enjoy it yourself.
Right.
Imagine you can imagine the kind of monsters that would create,
Yeah, of course. And then all the poor die off, and it's just a dick swinging contest of whoever can stay alive the longest and generate the most wealth, and that sounds like a great future.
Yeah. No, I mean, implications, and that's part of why I brought up Black Mirror, because the implications of a lot of those episodes, they're talking about what could happen, the dark side of technology and what it's leading to. And I mean, you can go back to the 50s and 60s and some of the science fiction novels that were coming out back then that are all classics now, but where they're talking about the implications of robotics and advanced intelligence, even sort of cheesy movies from the 80s, like Terminator. It's the whole Skynet thing. It's that, that ties in directly with the movie the Matrix, where it's basically some kind of Skynet or some sort of overall AI that's
right,
global, that is initially built to make life easier, of course, ends up taking over, or something like the computer, the HAL HAL 9000 in 2001, the same thing. They create a supercomputer because it's supposed to help, but instead it ends up like killing people because it determines through its advanced logic that the humans are more of a detriment to the mission than a help.
Right.
So it just makes that call in a very cold and calculating manner, and by then, if it's smart enough to do stuff like that, it's going to be smart enough to disconnect from its off switch. And then one day there's just not going to be an off switch. So it's like, yeah, Skynet is taking over. You know, you can't turn it off. It won't let you turn it off.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to confront a bunch of stuff, you know, and then look at what they're doing with genetics and all of the manipulation that they can do now. And you know, this stuff is, there's like international laws that say you can't try to combine, you know, you can't try to put a chicken head on a human body, or, you know, you can't try to take a human brain and put it in a pig, or,
right.
You know, but I mean, there's like, I'm sure there's like a few places around the world where they're trying to do some of that stuff. I mean, or they're like at least working on it in theory.
Yeah, and it's going to get out of a lab and cause a pandemic again. Great.
Exactly, again.
Fucking hell, man. Well, Thomas, thank you so much, Doug. Thank you for being on the show. Tell the people where they can listen to your music.
Well, right now, there's some available on my website, but I still haven't pulled the trigger yet on a streaming service.
Okay.
A buddy of mine, Leo, keeps telling me that, you know, Spotify is like pretty good, and he's brought over his little portable Wi-Fi Bluetooth system thing, and we've cranked it up here a couple times, and it sounds a lot better. Like, I always had a huge problem with MP3, but the you know, streaming has gotten a lot better, so I think I'm probably going to jump on Spotify. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll have at least some stuff up on Spotify. But yeah, people can check out my website, thomasaerosol.com. It's spelled Thomas the normal way, and then AYRESOL.com. I've got some music there, probably about a good 45, 50 minutes worth of music that they can check out there. And they can check out my YouTube channel, Thomas Aerosol. And yeah, man, I'm going to be cranking out a lot more content soon. I'm really just kind of getting started. And I'm also trying to get a CD out by the end of the year. So I've got a lot going on. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been cool. It's been good to touch base. And you know, I'm still catching up on your podcast. It's got a lot of content, man.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
That's good. That's a good thing, you know, having, like, because once people catch on to what you're doing and they want to hear more, it's like, you've got more. So that's good. I'm trying to catch up with you.
Well, man, I appreciate you listening. And for the listeners out there, I appreciate you listening. And Thomas will do this again very soon. But until next time, don't die.